All right, we're here on Tuesday morning, inauguration day in the States, day after holiday, Martin Luther King Day. So we'll see what happens when the markets open this morning. Yesterday was pretty quiet.
Morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Couldn't make that a recurring meeting or what? Right?
You know what? I tried on the setup and it didn't give me the option for the recurring meeting. Like in those steps you sent me. That 200-day held well in gold, hey?
Yeah.
You know, came back, tested it a few times, and it's come off pretty hard. Would have been a great sell entry right here. Below that little bit of support. Unfortunately, I forgot my computer cord in the office, so I had to drive into the office this morning. Yeah, I was up at 4. I was like, this is great, and kind of shit the bed. What's that?
Fun. Or was it a fun quick Porsche rip in the morning?
What's that, sorry?
A little quick Porsche rip in the morning?
Yeah, no Porsche. It's in the garage still. I took it out on Sunday, though. US CAD 2. You know, we were talking about this level here coming back down to test it, and that's held so far here overnight. There is, I think it's tomorrow, Bank of Canada meets. Yeah, Bank of Canada tomorrow morning. If we had a break above here, it might be not a bad long. This is a little bit of a higher low. Gold, hey? Breaking those lows in Asia and Europe.
Oh, geez. I was just looking at that.
Yeah, this would have been the entry right here, though. Nice little sell stop there, stop above. Even this breaking this low here. Here's the next, I'm gonna drag this over. The next level of support. Yeah, it's coming down nicely. Shit.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey there. Watching a gold entry we missed. Yeah, pound yen. As soon as it ran up yesterday when we were watching it in Asia, it just sort of consolidated here. Hit its ADR back up to the.
All the yen pairs ran.
Yeah. Remember we were watching these yesterday morning?
Yeah.
Down here.
Yeah, I'd set a price alarm on my Canadian Swiss franc one for when it was to break. Where was it? At just above, so 69785. I set a price alarm there to get in for a buy limit to carry on up to 77000.
69785. So right around here. Or this is yesterday?
Yeah, this was yesterday.
Yeah.
It hit, and then I had a take profit up at 7000, but you can see that really large red candle that spiked down.
Right here?
No, yes, yeah, right there. That big one spiked down and hit my stop loss.
Okay, so you know what that is there. This is why that's a pair you have to be very careful trading.
Yeah.
This is in the crossover of like right around 2 o'clock our time. So right when the markets are basically changing over from one day to the next. Okay. And the spreads on this pair will jump up from like 1-2 pips to like 30-40 pips.
Gotcha.
And so you can get stopped out if you've got stops in just solely on the spread.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's clearly what happened then.
Because if you look at that, like that's, and if you look at pull up like the Aussie Swiss franc or the New Zealand Swiss franc, same thing. You're going to get this volatility happen around that candle.
Okay.
So just be aware of that, because it's
for sure.
It can be in a great trade, and you would have hit your TP.
Yeah, but it happens. So
it does.
No, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And it's funny, even like the US Swiss franc does that. It's all the Swiss franc pairs, more so on the crosses, but they definitely roll like that. Let's see what gold does here. US dollar index is coming down still. This wouldn't be a bad entry right here. I'm thinking on this US CAD, other two entries. One, a buy stop above here with a stop below here for about a 20 pip risk, or a sell stop below here with the stop above here. Both about the same reward to risk. Because if this level here breaks, I think we're probably going to come down to this band down here, this level, 27, 26, 26.8.
He needs to go down in the 4 hour.
Yeah, the big thing is the Bank of Canada meeting tomorrow, right? Like that can change the bias on this pair really fast. And I wouldn't look for huge moves on this pair today, but break below this, it'll probably run down, maybe even to the ADR or close to it, and a break above, maybe retests at least the open. But a 1-to-1, a little bit better than a 1-to-1. I like these wicks though on the 1 hour. There's your pretty face.
Getting famous here. I don't want to be running around with it shirt off too much.
Gold just came back up to retest this Asian low. The Aussie US looks like it sort of hit a bit of a wall around the 77.2. Remember yesterday we were talking about the 77.4 level, just with moving averages and that previous support that held all last week. This was like, other than the one breakthrough, this was, this level right here held the last 2 weeks, 4 days, looking for it to come back up and retest it. TD Bank trade of the week, buy US CAD. Because you're gonna listen to them. Fuck.
Ethereum took a nice jump today.
Ethereum did?
Up 12.49%.
Watching this pound in too. If it breaks this this low right here, what moving average we have there? 100 on the 1 hour. If it breaks this level here, we might see a fall back down. The fact that it came back up, pierced this zone. It's a pretty bearish 4-hour candle here. And when you look on the daily, it did get rejected off that sort of 142 level. I mean, it could refill this move up quite. This pair can run when it starts moving. I'd almost want to see it break this low here, though. What do you think, Ryan?
If it hadn't hit that ADR, I'd be looking for a long just on the price pattern.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like it short that much. If it does go short, I don't think it's going to go very far.
It's got to break this lower here to take it short. Yeah, Ethereum really ran up, hey? Holy smokes. Are you still holding on to that position?
I got the crypto and the ETF.
I got in when it dropped down to 900. That same day I got into Bitcoin, but I got back out when it broke 1100. I think this is the Bitcoin and the Ethereum. I think you got to sort of take the ADRs and put them out the window. I don't think they're not really as relevant.
You're getting way more long now.
I like that last US CAD close for that candle. If we break this level here, I'm going to go in.
Long US CAD.
Yeah. There's just some CAD news that came out. Nothing great, just wholesale trade sales. US dollar index is breaking down a little bit here. Did you hear more what happened on the Capitol yesterday? Why there was all the security concern?
Nothing new more than we talked about yesterday. External threat, no details.
Hmm. Morning, Ron.
Yeah, there's a couple news sites that say the FBI is getting ready for an inside attack. And then there's one that says the Capitol was scared of the DC homeless encampment because there was a fire.
Hmm. Could be interesting today with just the inauguration, if anything goes sideways. What do you think about Bitcoin? Do you think it's going to come back down to 30 or keep pressing up?
I don't know, honestly. Short
The
term,
4 hour looks like a bit of a nice grind higher, hey?
I think it's gonna go high. Like I think it'll hit go back up to 40 or like high eventually. That wedge pattern there, I think like those are most likely to continue up.
Yeah, yeah. There's almost a bit of a wedge on the 4 hour if you look at yesterday and today. We get a break of this almost, right?
Yeah.
I like this bit of a rising here. Here was a pound yen breaking that level that we talked about. Let's see what that does. Again, I don't like this right here. If this wasn't here, I'd probably go short on that right now. But this is right after the kind of the crossover open in London. And I, got pushed up 40. But this, I like this break. Good morning, Roman. Thanks for coming back, man. That gold pushing up. Yeah, so the US dollar index just broke through 90.45, coming down pretty hard. So we're probably seeing that come back up in gold because of that. Still waiting on this US CAD. It hasn't really, again, waiting for a break above here for a buy or a sell below here for a just sell stop. US 30 looks like it's going to come back up and test these highs.
Earnings day for all the big banks, or earnings week for all the big banks.
Earnings? Yeah. See what the Aussie does. It's coming up to this level right here. Held in Asia, held in London. This is kind of a nice rejection right at the open. Start of the London session. It's crazy though, right back down to that 4-hour 100 moving average. It's amazing how many traders just take trades off those.
Good, more people are catching on. You find some pairs trade off that better than others?
Definitely. The heavier traded pairs, right? Like the US yen, Euro US, Pound US, gold, Aussie, CAD. It's the crosses that you gotta, the exotics where they're definitely less. I mean, there's still some correlation to it. But the nice thing about those moving averages is they're easy to back test, right? Like, you take the US CAD, just go to the 4-hour chart, and you can see, like, look at the 200 period moving average here on the 4-hour. Price comes up, gets rejected off it. Comes close to it, gets rejected off of it. Touches it, gets rejected off of it. Touches it, gets rejected off of it. So it's kind of like just make note of it, right? If it's a pair you're watching. The 20, the same thing with the 20 on the daily. That's why I have this in here, this black line. You can see how it contains price, and then as soon as it breaks above it, what does it do? Price comes back, retests it, and comes back up. Comes down, kind of tests it. This holds for a period of time, breaks it. What does it do? Comes back, retests it, down again, retests it. Flows through, consolidates, comes back down, and look at this. Just contains it all the way through.
Get the 20 on all pairs for all time frames.
A lot of pairs it does, yeah. Like the US yen's another really good one for the 20 on the daily. There's a lot of traders in Japan that will strictly just trade off of that.
Have it set though on all time frames for all pairs?
No, it's different. But it'll respect it. Like, look at this, like just holds above it until it goes below it, then it just holds below it. Anyway, it's just one of those things you can watch. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Just the whole idea with trading is figure out what other people are doing, get your edge, set some rules, and trade around it. I think a lot of people make it way more difficult than they need to. So when we see the US yen dropping there, that's the US dollar index is falling. It just broke a fairly little support level that it's established overnight, but we're not seeing any big moves in like the Aussie US or the US CAD. But yeah, you look at the US yen. Let go. And it's dropping. And so the US yen will have impact on the US dollar index. And the Euro US is the biggest one, of course. Yeah, and it's pushing up. So this actually looks, the Euro US right now looks really, really almost, it's inverted, right? It goes up as the US dollar index goes down. But if you pull out both charts and you were to mirror them, they almost look exactly the same. Depending on what you trade on, because I know some MetaTrader 4 platforms, which is what I use, like this, mine doesn't have the US dollar index, so I have TradingView up on another monitor.
I think it's nice having that on there, having the other monitor with the tickers on there to watch oil and gold and the.
Totally, all the indexes, and then, you know, something to be said about some of the big stocks right now, like Tesla. I know if Blair was here, he'd be talking about that every day.
Blair.
What's that?
Blair.
Which Blair?
Where is Blair?
Oh, where is Blair? I don't know. In Bali, trading on the beach still? Living the dream? Actually, I haven't talked to him in a few weeks. Or since the new year, actually.
I messaged him Happy New Year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Same thing with the US 10-year, looking at just risk, right? What are the markets? What do you anticipate? Because sometimes there's legs, like sometimes you can see a move in gold or oil and there'll be delayed move before something else. Not as much anymore, but you talk to guys, guys yesterday that were traders in London in the 80s and 90s, and back then it was all who you knew and where you got your information from, right? It was the personal contacts you had around the world that would make or break if you were a good trader or not. Now, you know, so back then it was who was the fastest to get the information, and now it's all on interpretation of information, right? Because it's all accessible. It's just how do you interpret it? So this drop in gold here, which was pretty big drop. Sometimes I'll throw fibs on these just to sort of see if you want to get a pullback in to carry on the short. Again, I prefer to do a breakout trade in gold, but it's come right up to the 50% level here and into this zone here, which is the zone that broke. This pound yen looks like it's, I mean, this is a moving average here right now. It's right at the, what is it, the 100? This looks like it wants to break down though. Pre-markets are up though, just about 1%, 0.5% in the S&P. Some of these pairs, though, when you get this kind of a big move in Asia, you know, you're just going to get consolidation for the rest of the day because most of the moves already happened. Or you can get, you know, the North American traders come in and take it down. And that's why these daily boxes are nice. You know, you have those so you can see the sessions of when the, you know, look at the pound yen here, you know, you can see when the Asian sessions open, Asian markets, the crossover between Europe and Asia, the European markets, and then the North American markets, and the crossover. And that's where you can see, like last week, we were looking at the Aussie US dollar and how consistent it was with those reversals happening. And same thing with the US CAD, those reversals happening, you know, in the North American session. It was like clockwork almost. Because so often you'll get the same traders with, you know, big money traders doing the same thing at the same time of day. Aussie's pushing up nicely. Like one of the big things we may see too that there's been some talk about is the whole thing around the Keystone Pipeline with Biden, how he might put a stop to that. And that was one of Trump's big things he was pushing through. That'll have impact on Canadian oil, which will impact the Canadian dollar. So there's some people that are anticipating he's going to basically kibosh that, which should mean some Canadian dollar weakness. So just something to watch. And those are the kind of the fundamental things that, you know, I like trading technically, but you can't not pay attention to that stuff because it definitely will have impact. That Aussie's pushing up to try to get through. Now, if we get another rejection on the Aussie, if it comes back up to test these levels here, we've got both the 100 and 200 on the 1 hour. If we get a rejection here, might be a decent short.
You know the yen was so weak during Asian session?
No, I don't. There was I read a couple articles that just sort of talked about yen selling and all the yen pairs were flying, which we were in the office. We all saw that firsthand, right?
Live saying.
Out of all the pairs, this US CAD, it's only moved 36 today. So I think there's some moves still to be had. It's just whether or not it's going to break this level here or break this level here.
I was hoping for a rally.
What's that, sorry?
Hoping for a rally until 7 and then the reversal.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've all the Canadian markets were open yesterday. The US weren't, and TSX was up yesterday. But we could see some big volatility here in the next hour just with traders coming in that haven't been trading almost the last 2 full sessions, right? Here's this trend line on this US yen as well. And this could be what, if the yen pairs are going to drop, you got to remember the US yen is the most heavily traded yen pair, right? So that'll have impact on all the yen crosses. And this is a trend line we've got from March. It held last week 3 times. It just about touched it again if you go down to the hourly. So you're going to have some traders paying attention to that, which if this holds, the other yen pairs will probably also look towards, consolidating or coming down. So if you're trading the pound yen, for example, it doesn't hurt to have a quick look at the US yen just to see what it's doing, just because it is more traded than the pound yen. We're getting the 4 o'clock or the 4 hour candle close here in a couple minutes too.
What are your thoughts on gold, Adrian, if it closes above 1840?
Gold, the big thing for gold here for me is this on the daily, this 200, I'm going to take that fib off. I don't like that. That's it's one thing about Fibonacci on charts, they've just marked them up so much. So if you look at this 200 period moving average on the daily, like it held as support other than this little breakthrough here, but it's held as support all last week and the week before. And then we broke through it, came back, we've retested it now. So as long as that holds, my bias on gold is going to be to the downside. This is a fairly bullish candle here.
Yep.
Through this rejection. And this move down happened pretty much at the start of the trading day on Sunday, sorry. So that's a pretty liquid time in the markets, which will take out stops. And you'll see that often when you see big traders come in on a Sunday like that, when there's not many real many players in the market that are watching it, and they'll just blow through and take out people's stops. Like that happened in a matter of, I think, a few minutes. But I'm not, last week we took this short when it broke this level here, and we were talking about 1840 and then 1820, and it hit both those levels on Friday, broke through that. So, I'm still long term, I'm still bullish on gold, but short term we might come back down to retest these levels here. And you can see, here's my 200 period moving average right here. And this is why I mark it in on the charts with this, right? So when I'm on a 15-minute chart, I can see exactly where that is. And just price consolidated on there. And then what does it do? Again, if I didn't leave my cord in the office, I didn't have to drive there this morning. I probably would have taken this trade here when it took out this level here.
Okay.
As a sell stop. So, I mean, you could, if you were looking for a gold entry right now, a short in this range with a stop above here, downside target isn't bad. It's about a 1.5 to 1. If we break above this though, I think to the upside, but if I was to buy gold, it would probably be down to this 1820 level or the low of yesterday, which is around 1802, 1803.
Yep. Okay.
It's always good to look at the bigger time frames to get your bias first before you start looking at it from the 15. Because if you go to a 15-minute chart, if you don't know those are in there, you're like, well, this is a good little setup to continue up. And it may do that. But this tells me something right here. I'm watching this US CAD here right now. Still watching this level. If it breaks above this level here, I'm going to take a long position. Put a stop below the low. The Aussie had a nice little rejection there. Something to pay attention to. S&P 500 is kind of consolidated nicely. So it's pretty easy to see the levels here since the Europe markets opened. Again, we've been closed since yesterday. Didn't do much yesterday once, you know, the North American markets, it was pretty quiet. My guess is at 6:30, we're going to see a lot of whipsaw on the stock markets, bit of back and forth. And I'd probably say best to sort of sit on your hands. And if you're going to trade those, sit on your hands until after, you know, maybe 7 o'clock, 6:45, let the first couple 15-minute candles play out. You know, having said that, you know, it looks pretty appealing to put a sell stop in here below this low or a buy stop right here for the S&P. I like that better than the US 30 right now for a setup. So I'm actually going to replace the US 30 with that. Here. Are there either of you guys trading the any of the stock market indexes?
No, I'm trying to just learn a couple pairs right now. So
Yeah, you're still focusing on the CAD Swiss franc and the pound yen.
yeah, just sticking away from a bunch of different charts.
That's smart.
I'm looking at the US 500.
Yeah.
What are you thinking above the like 3798? Like that's current session high, or would you go for the Asian high?
I'd go Asian high. I think that we're probably going to get some whipsaw here in the next 3 candles. But I'd go Asian high. I'd go 3,800, and then I'd go to the downside 3788. Obviously, right now more biased to the upside for the stock markets with what you know, new administration in the States, cheap money. There's not a whole lot of reason for negative bias in the stock market, but we did see a sell-off on Friday, though. You know, after what's the name speech on Thursday, and there was, I think the markets were a little bit disappointed with the financial package that Biden put out. Like This was Friday. I mean, look at the volatility here, right? It makes yesterday look like a boring day. But this is why you got, when the markets opened Friday, it was like down, then up, and then came crashing down. Although we're right up, you look at the S&P 500 and we're right up where we were at the open on Friday. And actually, here's where the markets opened in the US on Friday. So we're actually above. If you think about the financial markets in the States, we're actually above where we were on Friday at the close, which is down here. So even though we have that strong sell-off on Friday, we're actually sitting well above that. So when you're trading in the Forex market, the time zones and you just got to be cognizant of that a little bit. Comes the US CAD, it's coming down. Yeah, I like this short on a break of this support down here. Aussie's pushing up. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Come say good morning.
Hey, Caleb.
Caleb's gonna get on the charts here soon, hey bud?
Maybe.
So US dollar index is pushing down again. There was the Aussie gold's pushing up. What do you think about the Aussie US, Ryan?
Looks like it needs to go up on the daily. Four-hour too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a trade there for me. I haven't had good luck with that pair.
Yeah, stick to what you know, right? It's always the best way to do it.
I like that it's come off the bottom of yesterday and then consolidated and continuing up. But time of day, I'd probably like to see a pullback
On the Aussie?
over the next half hour.
Yeah. You guys ever have any of your monitors go on you, like when they start blacking out?
No.
No.
I use a different laptop.
Well, I've got like one of my big monitors. Let's say there's a shadow on the bottom. You can't see it on the shared screen, but it's like a faded. You can see where there's one or two lights that must have burnt out.
Oh.
To a new one. Yeah, it's really weird. It looks like just like a shadow one. You can still see, but just on the bottom corner there's a little triangle.
You usually get a 27-inch Samsung off Amazon for like $200.
Yeah, that's what I have. I got HPs, but they're 27 inch. I got two of them. The 27 is perfect, I think. If you want more than one. It's insane some of the setups you see where guys have got like 8 monitors.
I definitely think that's unnecessary.
I think it would just be confusing. I think certain things, it's nice just to see a ticker where you can just see the numbers and the percent changes, you know?
You still liking your portable one, Adrian?
Yeah, that one's great. Like when I was in Whistler last week, I had that and I had two computers, 2 laptops. So I had three screens set up. I think I might get another one. I had another one, unfortunately. And next got that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying it too, just so I can have 2 screens.
You know what? It's handy. They're super lightweight. The nice thing is they don't have any, there's no, like it just runs off the USB off your laptop, right? So there's minimal cords.
Yeah.
And you can get more than one if you want to.
Yeah, you can get an Amazon 27-inch right now on Amazon for 198 Prime.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
It's nice having a setup that you can use for both though, like, especially if you want to, I mean, one of the nice things about trading is you can travel and trade and, set up an office wherever.
Yeah,
It is nice having a bigger screen though. Pretty quiet here for the next 10 minutes, I bet. How's your Swiss franc CAD doing, Liam?
It's just sort of consolidating between two zones that I have set up right now. It dropped down to 69,635, and a few weeks back that was another, or not a few weeks back, a few days back, that was another spot it hit and then came back up. So
You can see this level here, right? On the
Yeah.
4 hour. And then it was resistance here, turn support.
yeah, so we'll see if it can break below 69.
69.6-ish.
Yeah, and then there's got some potential for it to go down.
Nice thing with this pair is it's a slow moving pair, right? You're looking at ADR is only 40 pips. So you're not getting the massive moves. Even though you look at this on a daily and you think, shit, that's a nice, like, a big move down.
Then you
It's
draw
only
your
39 pips today.
yeah.
US series breaking highs. So grab coffee. We're back one sec. Gold's pushing back up to that 200 day. All right, 1 minute till the market's open. There we go. US 30 pumps up. S&P. Gold's coming down nicely. There goes the S&P. Okay, I'm in US CAD. I got triggered. Gold's coming down hard. US dollars coming up. Could be US 30, hey, spike up and then now it's dropping. CAD. My entry was 127,360.
You can manage that tightly.
Pardon me?
You be pretty tight on your management with that.
See what happens when it comes up to this high. The high from right here. Like this. That Aussie's coming down too. So we just touch this moving average here. What is that? That's the 104 hour. So the 100 or the 204 hour is the one that's sort of contained price like we were talking about earlier. So if it breaks this here, if we get a strong break above here, that'll probably be the target to try to hit. Stock market, so they're coming down slightly. Still up for the day, but oil's up 1.3%. Okay, here because the CAD hitting that level. Pound yen's starting to break that last little low too. A little more activity than yesterday, hey? That would have been a good entry on gold if you were like just strictly put the small risk on that. If you would have got in when it came back and retested this, close to the 200 day here. The good way to always look at trades is like, what's your risk? Like, rather than thinking about where it could go, you get something like this this level's held. You kind of know my bias anyway right now is to the downside. That's a pretty low risk, trade with higher upside. And look at it fall here. US dollar index is looking pretty bullish. It's back up to that consolidation area. Pull up the Euro US, we can see that coming down. Again, this is a pretty good inverted view of what the US dollar index is doing, where it's pushing up just like this is pushing down. US CAD's pushing hard. Okay, we're breaking those highs in Europe and the US CAD. It's coming up nicely. So I'm up 12 pips now. I just closed half my position at 13. And the other half, I'm at plus 1 pip profit. 127.370 is my stop now. So yeah, I just made 13 pips on half my position and locked in profit on the other half. It's like one of the best feelings you can do when you get into a trade, take some money off the table, and hopefully it'll run up to your target and you can move that stop up as you go. But at the very least, you guarantee yourself money. Bitcoin's really done nothing with all the movement happening. It's a pretty small candle. Gold's coming down hard. Oil with a big spike up to 53 and getting rejected. Okay, first candle done. Again, we talked about the stock market indexes, how you get a push up and then a complete reversal. Same thing here, tested that high and then came rocking right back down.
Are you still holding a position in your US CAD trade?
Yep. Yeah. So I closed out half. My other stops at 127.370, so around here. Here's that 200 period moving average on the 4 hour that we talked about, that's held price, all last week, or the last, basically, since when is this? December. All the way back to, price hasn't closed above this since, what is that? Early November. So ideally, I like to see it come to that range, but I'm going to see. I'm not going to. If we get a a couple more bullish bars and sort of a wick candle or sort of a reversal signal, I won't be hesitant to close out the other half. But again, it's a nice feeling when you've made 13 pips on half your position and guaranteed profit on the other half. US 30s falling. Look at gold, the big drop, and then comes right back up.
So volatile.
Yeah. US dollar looks like it's, I mean, that's a big 15-minute candle in the US dollar. There goes the S&P breaking that low.
Good trade for you on that?
Pardon me?
Good trade for you on the 500?
No. Just because if the markets were open yesterday, 100% I'd be in that. I'd take this short as it's breaking this low right now. I'd probably be in it right now, but it's so much back and forth in the first little bit when the markets are opening. It's hard to want to sell it when you get, the strong push up we had in Asia, right? Although it's looking like it would have been a good sell right now. But I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy with this US CAD position right now. US dollar index is breaking that 90.5 level, which held, that was sort of the cluster before it broke down to the lows earlier. So I'm gonna move my stop on the US CAD to 127.40 right here. And so that locks in 4 pips profit on that other half now. And reasoning behind that is this looks really bullish. US dollar index is really bullish. If for some reason this is to reverse and it's going to come back down to this level, it's probably going to come back even lower. Yeah, that US 30 short would have been a nice, S&P 500 short. Would have been a nice trade. But even just the fact, sometimes a lot of times you miss a trade like that and you're like, fuck, like kind of beat yourself up a bit. But you got to look at it and say, okay, this is what I analyzed. This is what I thought could happen. There's a few reasons why I didn't take it to make it, the perfect entry for myself. But you can still feel good that, your idea was right, rather than having FOMO and thinking you just left money on the table.
I have a sell stop in on the Swiss franc if it breaks below 696.10.
Yeah.
for,
It's like looking like it's going to do that way. And again, with the US CAD pushing up, because you're trading a Canadian dollar pair with that, Liam.
yeah, I've noticed that with the US CAD, when the
Yeah, it
US
doesn't
dollar is
hurt.
always going up.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to watch the US CAD. And if it, if the US CAD runs into this level up here, like I talked about, that 4 hour,
Yep.
chances are the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc may not continue falling because it's creates some Canadian dollar strength, right?
Yeah.
So I would watch, like if you're trading the Canadian Swiss franc cross, I'd pay attention to the US CAD, just to see the levels that it's trading at. You can kind of get some ideas on where it could stop or not stop.
Okay.
That Aussie US is coming down nicely too, down to the 77-cent level. If this breaks this low, which is also a, right at the 20 period on the full 1 hour and the 100 on the 4 hour. US dollar index is breaking up nicely. Gold crushing down. A little more fun when there's some movement, eh?
It definitely is.
Compared to yesterday. Canal Gold came right back up to test that 15-minute, 20 period moving average right here. Rejected. And this hourly is looking pretty bullish on the US CAD. Although, like Ryan said, the 7 o'clock's been a bit of a reversal time the last week anyway.
Yeah, I'm considering taking a sell on it just based off everything it did last week at this time.
I'd wait for confirmation on some sort of bearish candle though. Like you got a massive engulfing candle here that's taken out basically. It's only ran 40 pips today. And this candle's ran 34. That tells you something right there in terms of buyers stepping in. Pound yen's done really nothing. It's been kind of. The US yen popped out. Holy shit, look at the US CAD.
Wow.
How's the index looking?
Bullish. It's broken above that 90.5 level. So I've got a TP in at 127.75.
GTP 127.
127.75. So it's 4 pips below this 400 period moving average. And my stop still at 127.40.
What's oil doing?
Up 1%, so it's come off. Still bullish for the day, but it's, and there was that big bullish candle there. It's come back down. No real, if you look at the oil on the CAD chart, or US CAD chart, there's not a whole lot of consistency between the two. US dollar index is still pushing though. European markets are now flat on the day. Bitcoin coming down a little bit. All right, hourly candle closed. Bit of a wick on the US CAD. That, I mean, still looks pretty bullish to me. Especially on the hourly. Gold looks like it's coming down. Yeah, a lot of volatility in the S&P on the 1 hour. US 30. It's always one of the things that's kind of I like to do is just anything you're watching, just as soon as the hour changes, have a quick look at the 1 hour. And at 6 o'clock in the morning our time, have a quick look at the 4 hour just to sort of see if there's anything that changes your bias. Now here's the euro. So this is a pretty good indication of what's happening with the US dollar index. Although in this cluster right here, the US dollar index is actually, it broke below that. Now, if this euro breaks this level here, we could see that US dollar index push up and, you know, this come down. I shouldn't keep this up so we can watch it.
You guys are gonna run. Have a good day.
Good night, you too, bud.
Have a good one.
It's always the worst having to leave when the market's like this.
Yeah, I'm not far behind. I have to drive my girlfriend to work. Her Jeep crapped out again.
Oh no.
Yeah, so had to go get it towed last night. That's why I wasn't able to make the meeting.
Ah, that's all good. The things you got to do for love, hey?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, this euro's coming down nicely. US dollar index is pushing up. S&P kind of got rejected. They're off those lows.
Adrian, I got to take off as well now. Thank you.
Buddy, have a good day.
Have a
Dude.
good day. Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pretty quiet now. Biggest thing is just watching that US dollar index here to see what happens. I like how the US CAD jumped up the way it did. All right, I'm gonna move my stop on this US CAD to 127,450. So now I'm locking in 9 pips profit on the other half. Just, buyers have stepped in here. This was resistance. It's come back down. They've respected this moving average too. So bias is that if it breaks below this, it's probably going to come back down to this level here. So we'll see what happens. Aussie US, this 77-cent level held. Again, a break of this could be a sell stop. I don't, this isn't a pair that I like to trade with a sell stop. It's, US CAD will be a runner. Aussie US, it'll more tear its way down as opposed to just running. That's part of it, is just getting used to how the different pairs, how they trade. Gold's coming down again as the US dollar is popping up. The euro's dropping, and the US dollar keeps on coming up. So we should see gold continue to fall. Those 200 days held well, like we've been watching. If it breaks these lows, here's that next level of 1829, which was sort of some buyers in the European markets yesterday, and then down to 1820, which is where I would like to see it go. Be back in 1 second. Gold's coming up a little bit. It's funny, the Aussie dollar has not really dropped considering gold's fallen and the US dollar strengthened. So it just shows you there's money keeping that afloat. People are buying that still. And a lot of that has to do with just the risk sentiment in the market of money being cheap for a long period of time. Looks like that US CAD starting to move again. See if gold breaks these lows. Ron, if you're still there, did you get into anything this morning? Right. No positions yet, Ron? How about you, Roman? Are you in any trades? Just came out. Germany just extended its lockdown to February 14th, which could be some of the reason for a bit of a euro sell-off. Yeah, US yen short. Let's just see here. Yeah, it's coming back up to that trend line. So I've got a trend line here, Roman, on the daily dating back to February, and it's hit it a few times recently. Last week, it's hit it again. Did bounce off the 20 on the 1 hour and the 200 on the 1 hour. But if we come up with this zone, I mean, could be a good short entry just on that zone alone, and with the bias being to get out if it closes above that trend line, depending on if you want a short term or long term trade. But US dollar does look pretty strong right now. It's coming down a little bit. Let's see what happens with this CAD. We got a couple wicks here showing the buyers are pushing it down. I'm up about 20 pips on the other half of the position with 8 pips locked in. Stop loss on my US CAD. So when I entered the position, I put a buy stop in here. So that means as soon as price broke above that 127.355 level, I'd get filled, and it got filled at 127.360. And my stop, I was going to get out of the trade if we got a close below this level here. And I say close below because for me, if we were to get a wick down and a rejection off this, that's still a buy for me. There's going to be stops down here, and I don't like getting taken out on stop hunts because there's a lot of big money out there that will, they will blow through those, take out your stops, and then reverse it back up. And then as soon as we closed above here, this strong candle, I then moved my stop to +1 profit. So it was at 127.370. We got this candle here and then this one here. I then moved my stop to 127.40, which is an 8 pip profit for the other half of the position. So I closed out half my position at 12 pips. 13 pips, I think it was. And then the other half position secured 1 pip profit to make a guaranteed winner. and now I've secured 8 pips profit with that other position. So it's a way you can take some money off the table, guarantee yourself a trade. If it does reverse, you get stopped out for profit on both positions, and if it does carry on, you can kind of continue moving your stop up. The US CAD is a pair that does tend to run when it breaks levels, so I like to trade it like that, similar to the pound yen, and then the US 30 and the S&P as well, and gold as well, to be honest. So first target, I have my TP at 127.750, which is just below this 400 period moving average on 200 period moving average on the 4 hour. If you go to the 4 hour chart, you can see that right there. US dollar strength. So I use TradingView, and it's called the DXY is what the indicator is for that. And so I have that up on another monitor, separate from a MetaTrader 4. So I can just follow what's happening. And it's made up about, I think it's about 80% or so. You can find it online, the exact mix, but it's basically a basket of currencies against the US dollar, the most heavily traded pairs. So the Euro US, US yen, and pound US are the ones that make up most of it. But it's a good gauge to use. It will respect levels, and it can give you some sort of a bias for US dollar trades. All right, a bit of a bearish bar on the US CAD. So I'm going to watch this closely. And I mean, I'm up 20 or 19 pips right now on the other half of the position. I don't want to give a whole lot of that back, especially time of day. Okay, man. Thanks for coming again, Roman. Have a good day. US dollar index is kind of coming back down to that cluster. US CAD's rolling over a little bit. This 77 cent level held nicely in Aussie US. US CAD's coming down. Seems a bit of a rollover in US dollar strength. And I'm going to close out my US CAD. So ended up taking 13 pips on both positions. Not bad. That is loud as fuck. They're doing some bunch of work in front of the house here. Big machine going by right now. All right, I'm out of that position, and I'm gonna, I think, stop for the day. In terms of stuff that I'd be looking at right now, this US CAD could be on a pullback. We come back down to this 127.4 level for a long. If gold breaks these lows, it's a potential takedown. We're looking like we're having some reversals in the stock markets here. The S&P with these, these pin bars here. Buyers are definitely coming in. Could see some reversals here. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow.